I killed your father, you know.
Okay, episode 7, Best Laid Plans. And the title is a warning, because almost every plan in this episode blows up in someone's face. Tabitha finally says the thing out loud. She was Miranda. She's Victor's mother. Boyd finds out he and his wife have been here before too. Henry starts slipping into a hospital that may or may not be real. Victor pulls a bag of human teeth out of the man in yellow's car. And then the totems, the one weapon they thought they had, completely fail. And Kenny ends up alone on the roof of the bus with every monster in town circling him and Smiley climbing up after him. This was a huge one. So let me walk you through it start to finish, and as we go, I'll flag the moments I think are way more important than they look, and the theories they set up. Quick heads up, full spoilers for episode 7 from here on. Let's get into it. We open right where the tension's been sitting, that secret door. Randall's standing in front of it with a big hammer, ready to deal with whatever's behind it. And Jade comes in, nails it shut, and hangs a talisman on it so that if something is on the other side, at least it can't get into Colony House. Hold on to that, by the way. They're treating that door like a threat they've contained. We'll see by the end of the night whether a nailed board and a talisman are actually enough. Then we're in Colony House with Boyd and Kenny, and Henry is drunk. Properly drunk. Boyd goes over, quiet but firm. Come upstairs, we need to talk. And Henry can barely stand. Keep that image of Henry in your head. Because his whole episode is a slow-motion collapse, and I don't think it's only the alcohol. Now the scene that the whole fandom has been waiting 3 seasons for. Tabitha's sitting on the floor with Jim's clothes. Ethan comes and sits with her sweet moment. He says he looks at the clothes sometimes too. And then at the table, the kids are being told about the dolls. Ethan says, "We killed those dolls with those totems. Remember that line. It matters a lot later." And then Tabitha tells her children the truth. She said last time she was Miranda, she was Victor's mother, and that she was here at the very beginning too. There it is. For people who've watched closely, the show has been hinting Tabitha and Victor's mother were the same soul for a while, but it never said it flat out until now. Tabitha is Miranda, which means the kind old man Victor isn't just some stranger she's been helping. Across lifetimes, he's her son, and she is now younger than her own child. Let that sink in. They tell Henry the same thing, and Henry understandably can't handle it. He staggers up and yells at Boyd, "How dare you say all this?" And then this quietly devastating moment. Victor says, "It's okay, Dad." Boyd asks Victor, "Do you understand what I'm saying?" And Victor just says, "I don't want to talk." He's known some version of this his whole life. He's just never had anyone believe him. Victor is laser focused on one thing. He says they need to learn everything they can about the man in yellow. Boyd pushes back. What does any of this have to do with him? And Victor's answer is the thesis of the episode. It has everything to do with him. Every single piece of this is connected to the man in yellow. And this is the chilling part. Victor says he's back, which means it's all going to happen again. He's talking about the massacre. The last time the man in yellow was around, people died in huge numbers. Victor is telling them the clock is already ticking. Boyd makes a big call. He tells everyone. The whole of Colony House gets the truth. The tunnels, the sacrificed children, the reincarnation, all of it. And the reactions are where it gets interesting. One of the residents, Bacta, asks the question we're all thinking. If Tabitha and Jade have been here before, does that mean all of us have too? Are we all just cycling through this place over and over? And Jade says no. He doesn't think it works like that. File that away, because by the end of the episode, the show quietly contradicts him. And watch the background of this scene, because this is the kind of detail that rewards a rewatch. Sophia is standing right behind Kenny while Jade explains the children being sacrificed. The man in yellow is in the room, listening to them figure out his secret, smiling. Then Christy cuts in. Half the medical staff is not buying this. She basically asks Jade if he's saying all this because of the mushrooms he took, and Boyd, of all people, defends it. He says he was the first one to call it nonsense. He didn't believe a word of it until he found that door Jade told him about. That's what flipped him. But Christy and Marielle still aren't convinced. And honestly, that's good writing. Not everyone should believe the crazy story instantly. Boyd also lands the heavy one. He says Jim died because Tabitha and Jade remembered their past lives. That was the price. Knowledge comes at a cost. That wasn't just a creepy line, it was literal. The more they remember, the more it cost them. And Boyd says it means one thing. They're getting close. Henry comes back, furious. And here's the first sign something's really wrong. When he gets near, a strange look crosses Sophia's face. In my read, that's her blood doing its work. The stuff she put in his drink last week is kicking in. Jade tries to calm him down, but Henry's anger just climbs, and he says something that's going to echo through the rest of the series. You can't save the dead. How do you save people who are already dead? Remember that line, because the whole town's plan depends on the opposite being true, and then Henry's grip on reality starts to slip for real. But I'll come back to that, because it pays off later in a big way. Quick side beat that matters. Julie. She's outside smoking, clearly rattled. Ethan comes to her doing the math out loud. If Mom was Miranda, then Victor's my brother. And Julie just shuts it down. It's a lie. It's not true. Then she finds out Boyd told the whole town, and she's furious, and she leaves. Tabitha calls after her. I just want you to be safe. Julie's the one person actively rejecting the truth right now, and given that she's the story walker, that's going to matter. Now Boyd, Kenny and Jade are planning. Boyd wants 100% certainty before anyone goes into the tunnels. How many monsters? What to expect? He wants to talk to Randall, since Randall spent all that time on the bus and actually knows how the creatures behave. And Jade catches it. Boyd's hands are shaking. Boyd hides it. We know what that is. Keep an eye on those hands because they come back at the worst possible moment tonight. Then Boyd goes to Danny Acosta, who's reviewing camera footage. He asks her to keep digging on the man in yellow. They have to find him. He's too dangerous. Everyone's life is on the line. And on her way out, she hands Boyd the camera, just to pass the time. And that throwaway moment turns into one of the biggest discoveries of the season. Boyd's flipping through it, and he freezes. He sees a man and a woman in the footage, and realizes it's him and his wife. They've been here before, too. This is enormous. Up to now, we thought the reincarnation thing was special. Tabitha and Jade, the chosen souls. But Boyd's not supposed to be one of them. So either the cycle is way bigger than anyone realized, or Bhakta's question from earlier, are we all here over and over, is closer to the truth than Jade wants to admit. Christy tells Boyd that Donna's stable, but a CT scan would tell them more. Boyd goes to check on her, and Donna, even sick in bed, is sharp. She rips into him for telling a room full of emotionally fragile people about dead children and reincarnation. Boyd says he didn't have a choice. She asks about the door. He says they put a talisman on it. It's handled. Then Boyd asks Donna for everything she knows about the totems, because here's the plan. He wants to test them on the monsters tonight, see if the totems actually kill them. And Donna's response is basically the theme of the episode. She calls it foolish, and she reminds him, even if they die, they come back. That's the trap they're all in. Boyd takes a totem and heads out, and Sophia sees him do it, and she does not like it. She looks genuinely afraid of that totem. Hold that thought. Because why the man in yellow would fear the totems is, I think, the most important question this episode raises. I've got a theory on it, and I'll give it to you at the end. Meanwhile, Victor, Tabitha, and Ethan get to the cars, including the car the man in yellow arrived in. Victor climbs inside and finds a pouch. He picks it up carefully, and it's full of teeth. Human teeth. While that's happening, Tabitha drifts to Miranda's car and slips into a vision of her past life, driving it, and Victor's getting more and more frightened, and he lays it all out. This has happened before. You came here in a car, with a girl and a boy. The man in yellow came, and now you're here again, with a girl and a boy, and the man in yellow is back. Last cycle, one child survived. He means himself. And this time, there's a child here too, Ethan. So Victor says, Ethan needs to be ready, now. Tabitha can't bear to let Victor show Ethan whatever he's about to show him, and in the middle of them struggling over it, Ethan slips away, which feels like a mistake the show wants us to worry about. Now, one of the creepiest sequences of the season. Sophia, the man in yellow, wanders into the animal pen and starts studying the chickens and the eggs, really studying them. She finds 5 eggs, smells one, puts it back, picks up a second, smells it, and this time pockets it. There's this awful little smile. We don't have to wonder long what it's for. Later, she slips into the shed where Roger's corpse is lying. She pulls back the cloth, takes out the egg, whispers some kind of incantation over it, sets it on Roger's chest, and presses down until it cracks. And she says, it's time to play. This is a ritual. She's using that egg to bring Roger back, as one of them. Night comes. Boyd rings the bell. First time in a while we've seen this, and everyone gets inside. A few things happen fast. Donna's up and wandering. Fatima walks her back and tells her she needs to rest. She needs to sleep. And Donna says she can't. Remember Fatima here. And right as Colony House is locking up, Sophia shows up at the door asking to spend the night inside, because she's scared of what Boyd's doing in town. Come on. The villain asking to be let into the crowded house on the worst possible night. Nothing good is coming from that. Then the argument that decides everything. Ellis and Kenny tell Boyd that Kenny should be the one to go out and test the totem, because they can't risk losing Boyd. It turns into a real fight. Boyd gets angry, points outside to take it himself, and his hands start shaking again. They betray him at the exact wrong moment. Ella says please, and Boyd, knowing his body won't hold up, gives in and lets Kenny go. And the monsters come out, all of them. The recap I'd give is, it's like the whole town of creatures showed up for an event. Everything that's been picking people off one at a time for 4 seasons out at once. Cut to the man in yellow in a room, doing that strange ritual chant. And Roger starts to rise. Kenny spots a creature passing close and makes his move. He sneaks up and drives the totem right into it. And the monster screams. For a second, it looks like it worked. And then the monster basically goes, just kidding, nothing happened. The totem did nothing. And now they all turn on him. This is the gut punch of the episode. The plan was the totems. The totems don't work on these things. There's a creature blocking the door so Kenny can't get back, so he bolts for the bus, and right as he's about to shut the door, a monster grabs it. The bus isn't safe anymore. And then we see Smiley come in. Smiley, looking right at Kenny, and here's the save nobody saw coming. Fatima, back in Colony House, is seeing exactly what Smiley sees. She's looking through his eyes. Kenny ends up cornered on the roof of the bus. Monsters everywhere, Smiley about to finish it, and Fatima screams no, and Smiley's face changes. She's controlling him. For a second, Fatima has the wheel, and in that exact gap, before Smiley snaps back, Kenny shoves past him, gets into the bus, slams the door, and slaps the talisman up. He survives by a hair. And then the night's second disaster. There's a stampede of panic in Colony House. Because Roger, the man who died, comes back. He breaks straight through the Colony House door and starts attacking people. More monsters are right behind him trying to pour in, and someone manages to get the door shut. And it's Elgin, who grabs a totem and puts Roger down. And that's where episode 7 ends. Okay, let me pull out what I think actually matters, because some of this reframes the whole show. 1, the reincarnation cycle is way bigger than the Chosen 2. Tabitha being Miranda is finally confirmed, but the bombshell is Boyd seeing himself and his wife in old footage. Boyd was never supposed to be a special soul. If he's been here before too, then Bacta was right and Jade was wrong. This might not be 2 chosen people, it might be everyone, cycling through over and over. Which would mean the town isn't collecting strangers. It's recollecting the same people. That's a much scarier idea. 2, and this is my big one, the totems don't work on the monsters, but they do work on the dolls. And that explains everything. Watch the logic. Ethan literally says it early. We killed those dolls with those totems. Kenny uses a totem on an ancient night creature, and it does nothing. Just kidding. But at the end, Elgin uses a totem on Roger, and Roger goes down. So what's the difference? Roger isn't a regular monster. Roger was just reanimated by Sophia's egg ritual. He's one of the dolls now. The totems were never an anti-monster weapon. They're an anti-doll weapon. And here's the payoff. That's why Sophia was so scared of the totem. The man in yellow is building an army of reanimated dolls. Roger's the first one we've watched him make. The totems are the one thing that can destroy his new creations. He's not afraid for the old monsters. He's afraid for the things he's making. Boyd tested the wrong weapon on the wrong enemy tonight, but he accidentally proved he has the perfect weapon against the man in yellow's real plan. 3. Henry might literally be in a hospital. All episode, Henry keeps slipping, the house becomes a hospital. He's on drips, a beeping machine only he can hear, a nurse telling him he's back, blink twice, and a grown-up Victor in scrubs calling him dad. Then Jade snaps his fingers and it's gone. 2 readings. Option 1, the one I lean toward. This is Sophia's blood turning Henry into a receiver, the same way the worms tuned Boyd into things nobody else could see and hear. Notice Henry asks Jade, "Are you hearing the sound?" That's a man starting to pick up a frequency the others can't. Option 2, the wilder one. It's not a hallucination at all, and Henry's real body is lying in a hospital in the outside world, and the town is the dream. The show is dangling both, and honestly either one is huge. 4. Fatima and Smiley are bound together. Fatima carried Smiley when he was reborn, and now she can see through his eyes and even override him. That's a lifeline and a horror at the same time. It saved Kenny tonight, but it also means there's a monster out there with a direct line into one of our people, and we should be asking whether that line runs both ways. And the teeth. Victor pulls a pouch of human teeth out of the man in yellow's car, and the show just lets it sit there. I don't have a clean answer yet, so I'll give you the question instead. Whose teeth and why teeth? My best guess, and it's a guess, is their trophies or tokens tied to the sacrifice, maybe even the children's. Teeth are the part of a body that lasts. If you wanted to keep a piece of every soul you've collected across the cycles, that's what you'd keep. Tell me your theory on the teeth in the comments because I genuinely want to hear it. 3 quick things I'm watching. 1. Victor wants Ethan ready, because last cycle one child survived, and Ethan is this cycle's child. I think the show is lining Ethan up as the next Victor, the kid who makes it through. 2. Sophia talked her way into Colony House for the night, right before Roger broke in. I don't think that's a coincidence. I think she opened a door, literally or otherwise. And 3. Boyd now knows the totems kill dolls, not monsters. If he figures out what I think he's about to figure out, that the man in yellow is making dolls, that totem stops being a failed experiment and becomes the most important weapon in town. So best laid plans. Boyd's plan failed, the totems failed, and the dead got up and walked into the house anyway. But the audience walked away with the biggest pile of answers we've gotten all season. Tell me which moment hit you hardest. Tabitha saying she's Victor's mother, Boyd seeing himself in that footage, or Kenny on top of that bus. And give me your theory on those teeth. Best answers go in the next breakdown. I'll have episode 8 broken down the moment it drops, so subscribe and I'll see you there. Thanks for watching.